Camp 30, the last remaining POW camp from World War II, situated in Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. Many camps were set up across Canada during the Second World War, as Britain didn't have enough camps for the many POWs captured. They converted it to a prisoner of war camp, and immediately, barbed wire fences and guard towers were erected for the new task. There is roughly 17 buildings, on 19 of 100 acres, originally owned by a farmer, who in 1927 donated it to the government to build a school for delinquent boys. The government closed the school in August 1941. It is the only known POW camp, with the original buildings from that era.
Das Symbol der Klasseneinigung des deutschen Volkes.
It was a creepy spectacle in 2015 when this footage was taken, with many untold and unheard stories. But there are some to be shared.
Und niemals erlahmen und niemals ermüden und niemals versagen.
It opened November 23, 1941, and housed approximately 700 plus high-ranking German officers. And it ran like a five-star hotel with indoor swimming pool, theater, basketball court, concert stage. They also were given 10 of the acres to raise farm animals and grow food. Many of the prisoners had never eaten so well, even back home. They even brewed their own liquors and beer. This is the soccer field. The prisoners formed a theater group, and put on plays. And some put together an orchestra, and had recitals. They were taught English by professors, from the University of Toronto. Camp 30 had several escape attempts. The first escape came shortly after the camp opened on November 23, 1941. The prisoner escaped through the wire, and was on the run for 2 days before being captured. He would escape again a few weeks later and be recaptured again. His last attempt was February 18, 1942. After recapture he was moved to Camp 20. On November 25, 1941, a prisoner attempted to crawl underneath the barbed wire, but was caught immediately, and given a 28-day detention. On December 30th, many prisoners attempted an escape by hiding in the laundry truck, as it was leaving the camp. The attempt failed, and they were held in the local jail for a few hours, before being released back to the camp that same day. Unfortunately for them, the over 6-foot laundry truck driver was also training to be a police officer. While dressed as local contractors, escorted to a fence by 2 others dressed in Canadian uniforms, and with the tower guards busy elsewhere, thinking everything was under control, the 2 jumped the fence and escaped. The theater group was very creative. They made a couple of dummies out of paper mache, in a uniform along with paper stuffing, and held them, in the middle of the group, wearing hats for the morning prisoner head count. They both split off in Toronto, and the one was caught not long after. almost crossing at the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge at Buffalo. The other made it to Detroit, where he got help and then headed to Mexico, but was caught in Texas and returned. Inside the camp, there were head counts at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily. It was the Niagara Falls Police Department who called Camp 30 about the prisoner they held, which Camp 30 had no idea about. After that incident, future roll calls required a response to your name being called out. Here we have the building of the mess hall. They received their regular wages, and were allowed to leave the camp and go shopping in Bowmanville, or visit the nearby beaches of Lake Ontario to sun, swim and enjoy the beach, as long as they gave their word to return. That came to a temporary end, when Hitler was to shackle POWs in Germany, and therefore Winston Churchill ordered our POWs to be shackled. Camp 30 went on lockdown, and they were to shackle the prisoners. The German officers would have none of that, and barricaded themselves in the mess hall, armed with sticks and iron bars. It was too much for the Camp 30 guards, so 100 Canadian soldiers training in Kingston were brought in to deal with this insurrection. They went in with bats and hockey sticks to be equally matched, and they battled for several days until 4 soldiers set up a fire hose and put an end to the battle, as the Germans surrendered with hands in the air. There were only a few injuries, even though 1 German officer was shot after 3 of them took a guard hostage. He recovered in hospital quickly. This led to the infamous, yet amusing story about the camp known as the Battle of Bowmanville. Canadian military intelligence intercepted Operation Kibitz. Communications about a U-boat Hitler sent to New Brunswick to rescue 4 skilled U-boat commanders. In 1943, Nazi officials organized an escape plan for several German prisoners, including Otto Kretschmer, the most successful U-boat commander the Germans had, even surpassing all the others who were never captured, and he was personally decorated by Hitler. The pickup was scheduled for September 27, 1943. To meet the deadline, the prisoners began digging a tunnel beneath the camp. Tin cans and a crude system hauled the dirt out of the tunnel and into the attic of one of the camp buildings. During a routine inspection in the prisoners' cells, a tin can was found with a map and tools to escape on the 29th of July, 1943. The can was taken and likely locked away. Supports for the tunnel were made of wood from the attics in the residence buildings. The dirt was excavated using a trolley system and men passing a bucket one to another. Here is the auditorium, where musicians and actors performed. The ceiling of the building with the dirt finally collapsed. The camp guards and RCMP did not react, as they knew the plan and waited for the escape date to come. Then they made their move, collapsing the tunnel and confronting the men responsible. So Otto Kretschmer did not escape. The attempt failed, and he was held in the Oshawa jail for a few hours, before being released into the camp that same day. During the years at Camp 30, there were many escape attempts, but none were successful. Many tunnels were built and attempted, but they were all found quickly enough and put out of service. And here is the in-ground pool. This is the basketball court. Over the years, fires, vandalism and graffiti have been the norm for the camp that sits unused. In 2015, the developer who bought the property was going to remove the whole camp, but somehow it has survived the wrecking ball. Today, it has been registered as a historical site. The municipality is looking to conserve and celebrate the historic character by cleaning the architecture and reconstructing the buildings. Many of the German prisoners came back to Canada to live the rest of their lives after the war. It is the only known POW camp with the original buildings from that era. We look forward to the day when tours can take us back to the memories of that historical time.